Hey everybody, so as you know, we've had this interesting development where first Jameis Winston, day before yesterday, was the latest recipient of a contract from the New York Football Giants, and that is for $16 million spread over 2 years, basically $8 million a year. It'll get $16 million with incentives. Uh, then we turn around and we discover that, hey, Russell Wilson, yes, Russell Wilson yesterday receives a 1 year contract that with incentives is worth 21 million. 1 year. And that he's going to be the starter. I believe it's 15 million guaranteed. He's going to be the starter over Jameis Winston. Now, what's interesting to me, okay, is immediately, and I agree with a number of people, Jameis Winston should be the starter. And I put that photograph up to make the point that Jameis Winston is in a brace with Russell Wilson, but he literally engulfs Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is short compared to Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is 6'4", what, 220, something like that? And Russell Wilson is 5'11". Russell Wilson is an inch shorter than me. And the difference is obvious. And so you would think the Giants would start Jameis Winston. But because Russell Wilson has a credible resume coming in, NFL MVP at I think 2 years, Super Bowl MVP. He has a ring with the Seattle Seahawks. He almost got another one. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And what happened was they were beaten by the Peyton Manning guided Denver Broncos. Remember that? And they also lost to the New England Patriots. Remember that? So Russell Wilson has been in. No, I'm sorry. He beat the Peyton Manning guided Denver Broncos. Did Russell Wilson? Yeah. And then they went back and they lost to the New England Patriots. So Russell Wilson has been in 2 Super Bowls. He won one and lost the other. Not bad. Not bad. Over the course of his time, Jameis Winston has been called on to be a gunslinger. Not that he asked to be a gunslinger. In fact, the 1 year that he wasn't that was 2021 for the Saints, when, he threw 1,500 yards, but had 14 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions because he was in a ball control passing offense. I predicted the year before, when he was acquired by a free agency because he was cut by the Bucs, by the Saints, I predicted that Winston would thrive in a ball control passing offense because he has the basic mechanics of a sound passer. But he's been asked to do some unsound passing. It doesn't matter if it's Bruce Arians' risk it, no biscuit, or the kind of schemes that Dirk Cutter put in. That's what he was asked to do. College was entirely a different story. But Sean Payton proved that Jameis Winston could be an effective quarterback through the air. Not just bombs away, but just pointless passing. 59% completion percentage that year. Stopped only by an illegal tackle. Devin Wright, horse collar tackle, which a lot of Bucks on the sideline started laughing about. It was ugly, folks. Then he went to the Cleveland Browns, defeating by a number of people that, hey, look, at some point, Jameis Winston's going to come in. Didn't happen. It did not happen. Jameis Winston was just, left to sit while they brought in Dorian Thompson-Robinson first, and they brought in DTR because Deshaun Watson was injured, DTR, played 2 games. He was pretty terrible and then got injured. And only then did they bring in Winston. And we know the rest of that story. Jameis won 2 of the 3 games the Browns won. But because Ken Dorsey put Jameis Winston in an interception-prone offense, throw, be aggressive. Dorsey's term, which is another way of saying take risks. What do you get when you have that idea? Interceptions. 2 pick sixes against the Broncos that were on plays that really weren't Jameis' fault. Because, in particular, the one I'm thinking about was a sideline pass that Jameis threw, which, because the receiver rolled early into the pattern. In other words, instead of going up, running a stick, so no one knows whether you're cutting in or out, he rolled like that. And all the defender had to do was make a move early to cover that pattern, and he gets a running start. He can pick off the football, which was just a tad late because Jameis threw the pass without a hitch step instead of with a hitch step to get more oomph on it, right? Your offensive coordinator can correct those things, but see, the Browns don't do that. All right, that's Kevin Stefanski for you, okay? The Browns don't do that. And so, not surprisingly, that's what happened. But guess what? It happened with Bailey Zappi, too. Same play, folks. Same play, flipped around the other side. Bailey Zappi throws the same way, pick 6. Pew. Same formation, same play. Same pattern, pick 6. Which tells you it wasn't Jameis. It was the offensive coordinator. And that's why I put out a press release saying, you know what? Fire this guy, all right? And they did. But they didn't write a contract for Winston, and they should have. There's something going on in the air with the way Jameis Winston is treated, folks. Okay? It's like there's somebody at the NFL that doesn't want Jameis to be a starter. Or, if he gets a starting assignment, they put him in offenses so he can be entertaining. Let him throw the bombs and all of that stuff, right? Give him what he wants and take advantage of it by saying, well, you throw too many interceptions. But if you have a quarterback like, Jared Goff, who threw 5 in one game, he won, okay? He won. In the games featuring the interception that Jameis Winston threw, the real problem was the Browns' defense. Like against the Chargers, when Ken Dorsey went in with basically in terms of concept, exactly the same game plan against the Chargers that he ran against the Ravens the week before. But no surprise, guess what? The Ravens were ready for, not the Ravens, but the Chargers were ready for it. And picked Jameis off 3 times. But the defense gave up 3 plays of over 60 yards each. 3 big plays. And in general, looked like a sieve. In general, looked like a sieve versus the Chargers offense. It was awful. It was like there wasn't a pass that Justin couldn't complete, for the Chargers. And Austin Eckler and others had a field day. It was awful. So that set up a pattern where Jameis, it seemed like he was having a hard time because the Browns defense wasn't coming through. Jameis just wants to play football. He wants to be where he can contribute. He wants to start. He wants to prove that he can start for an NFL team because he started for one. And you would think that someone would say, hey, look, let's just follow what Sean Payton did, put him in that ball control passing offense and we'll be good to go. And that's why I say there's somebody working against Jameis. I hope the Giants don't do what the Browns did and what the Dennis Allen coach Saints did to Jameis. You'll put him in offenses that are not ball control passing, just to screw him up. It's kind of like what Mike Shanahan did with RG3. Put him in that hybrid running offense and ran the crap out of him, and then put Kirk Cousins in the more conventional offense. That was horrible. They ruined. I mean, literally, they beat up RG3. They beat him up and got him out of the league. That's what they did. They beat him up for being a black quarterback. All right? There's been a lot of that going on. Look at Trey Lance, the Niners. The Niners took Trey Lance with the idea, well, we're going to make him a new type of quarterback, the run and all that sort of thing, rather than just making sure he gets down the fundamentals and studies his playbook. But they let Brock Purdy do that. Mr. Irrelevant. And look what happened with Purdy, okay? Then they shipped Trey Lance off to the Cowboys. And no one's really sat down with Trey to say, you know what? Don't worry about running. Just learn the nuances of the passing game, because they're not teaching you. They don't want you to be a great passer. They don't want you as a black quarterback to rise above. Not the conventional way. If it's a run like Lamar Jackson, oh yeah, sure. Pat Mahomes, well, he's mixed. It's okay. These people think this way. This is idiotic stuff. It doesn't help society at all. All right? Justin says, Niners gave up a lot to get Lance. I think they want him to succeed. I just don't think he has it. I disagree, Justin, and I don't want to get too far off. I disagree. I know they gave up a lot to get him, but they had a plan in mind, okay, that had nothing to do with teaching the nuances of simple ball control passing as ushered in by Bill Walsh at the same San Francisco 49ers, where everybody has the same play. Bill, are you sure you have a package of plays for a person to take advantage of what they do well, right? But there's a core of plays that everybody has to know, learn, and run. They didn't do that with Trey Lance starting out. They gave him a different package even in preseason. They did that when the Niners played the Raiders. They had a special run package for him in preseason. So no, it's not that he doesn't have it. No. No. He has it, but they didn't coach him the right way. All right? The old way is everybody learns the same approach. It's based on footwork. It's based on ball release. It's based on timing, okay? All right? And Parker says that Jimmy G. Will Purdy did and Lance didn't. But they didn't. I disagree with you. Because that sentence right there implies that they're doing the same thing. Justin, I'm telling you, they weren't. And this gets back to how Jameis was treated. It's a common pattern. It's racist. Oh, I've got this black quarterback, so I'm going to make him a gunslinger. And you have these stupid idiots who say, well, Jameis is a gunslinger, as if Jameis draws up the plays, and he doesn't. There's a different psychology with black quarterbacks. Black quarterbacks are not used to, unlike their white counterparts, saying, I want to run this, and I want you to run X. Because historically, they know that if they make demands on a coach, they get out. And they may very well be branded as difficult and angry, not one to work with, and so on. So no black quarterback in the NFL is going to do that. So they wind up doing what? Taking what's given to them. It's almost like Hollywood, where black actors historically are asked to play racist roles. Same reason. As opposed to roles where the person happens to be, a scientist or something like that, which makes Joe Morton such an icon. If you've seen him in Terminator and Zack Snyder's Justice League and so on, right? My point is that, and even Taysom Hill brought that up to Jameis, saying, you should ask for what you want to run. But Jameis was afraid to do so, whereas Taysom had no problem doing it. That's culture. It's culture based on a racism that shouldn't be there. And yet it is. It's stupid. Okay? It's stupid. It haunted Jameis from the time he came into the league. Technically, it haunted him as he was coming to the league because of all these other stupid issues, which, by the way, were setups. Proven. Okay? He didn't do anything wrong to anybody. All right? And that's the truth. So here we have Jameis Winston comes into the Sean Payton directed Saints. And his first year out as starter, 14 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions. So then mysteriously Sean Payton decides he's going to resign and retire, which is shocking to everybody. And still not ever talk about. I have a theory, because you would think, all right, that under normal circumstances, he'll want to continue into the next year, right? But what happened that year was Sean went 5 wins and 2 losses with Jameis. They're on a 4-game win streak. Jameis Winston had thrown 14 touchdown passes and just 3 interceptions. Just 3. This is 2021. But then Sean leaves. Dennis Allen is elevated. And what does Dennis do with Pete Carmichael? Same offensive coordinator, but gives him a different direction. He does not have Pete Carmichael run the same offense that he was directed to run under Sean Payton. They went gunslinger. What happened the first game against the Falcons? Jameis broke his back. But he still was able to engineer a comeback against the Falcons, where in the fourth quarter he threw for 227 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was scintillating. Okay? But he was so badly injured that the next game they threw out the same stupid spread Mike Martz game plan where I call it, hey, let's everybody come and sack the quarterback. In fact, why not? Because the offensive coordinator is letting us sack him by the way the offensive line retreats. It's stupid. So I've been trying to tell Kurt Warner on Twitter, but it doesn't quite register. He played in it. That offense will get you killed. That's what they put Jameis in. The murder offense, I call it. Boy, it looks cool because you're throwing the ball over the park, but you're getting beat up too. And that's what happened to Jameis. They got him beat up, just like with RG3, Justin. They got him beat up. Talking about the Pete Carmichael, Dennis Allen head coach Saints after Sean Payton. They got him beat up. So then he goes to the Browns. And what does Ken Dorsey do? He puts in the same offense. All right? Modify just a little bit so that Jameis is getting rid of the ball a little earlier. But it's still the same spread air raid concept. There's nothing to do with Bill Walsh like timed passes. We don't see misdirection patterns. We see lazy patterns. Well, I'll roll into this. I'll roll into that. All right? Absolutely ridiculous stuff. So Chai, how you doing? So Chai says, I'm so happy for Jameis Winston and Russell. So am I. Thank you for the two bomb. Sierra's really happy to be in New York, New Jersey. I'll bet. He says, Zenny62, hope you see this baseball season in Sacramento. Between me and you, the Sacramento community is not welcoming any type of protest trolling from Oakland activists. Noted. No, they're not. And again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. the fault of the loss of the A's, you know where I'm going with this. I'm not going to go off on a tangent for you Giants fans. I'll make this very brief, but so China knows it. The fault of Oakland government. All right. So let's go back to continuing to talk about Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. And I actually have this on Twitter. I was kind of tracking, right, what people were saying and everything else. And I'm going to put this in. Present, share screen here. Also, I'm looking to raise money, so if anybody has more to donate, please, $2, $10, $20. Hey, it all helps. Now, where is this? Here we go, right here. Boom, right there. All right, and let's enlarge this so we can see effectively what's being written. Zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, and one more time. Zoom in, and maybe one more time. Better. It says, Abigail Martin says, with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston on board, Giants can still draft a quarterback early. I thought that's stupid. I don't know what you guys think, but to me, I think this is absolutely stupid, okay? Sir Chai says, I think Jameis Winston has a chance to win the job, but the New York Giants don't have many good wide receiver weapons. At least Raiders have Brock Bowers and Jay Myers. Justin makes a good point here. The Giants have Malik Neighbors. He's a star, okay? And I think, and their other wide receiver, let me see what the depth chart looks like for the Giants right now in terms of, since you said that, all right? Let me see what the depth chart looks like here for that. So we've got New York Giants. Let's see here. NY Giants depth chart 2025. All right. Giants depth chart right now. Actually, they've got it out here. Okay. Malik Neighbors is number one. Left wide receiver. White wide receiver is Darius Slayton. Then they have Zach Pascal, Arizona. It's penciled in, I think, and so it's a free agent acquisition, I believe. That's University of Arizona. What are they saying about this? I don't see where they're getting that from. Old Dominion, 2025. Yeah, he was a free agent acquisition there. Okay, so, all right. They got Malik Neighbors and Darius Slayton. And then at tight end, they have Theo Johnson. But Darius Slayton's not, was a serviceable wide receiver, okay? Now, Malik Neighbors gives them a bona fide, all-pro level wide receiver without question. Without question, okay? Then what else? Oh, and then he says, and Jamar Chase, okay? He says Malik Neighbors is cool, but not like his LSU's brothers, Jefferson and Jamar Chase. He's right. Justin says Jameis isn't the answer. I disagree. He says he's been on these three teams. He's a backup quarterback. And no, he is. Justin, can I just be honest with you? That's a stupid take, okay? I'm sorry. Jameis Winston is an elite quarterback, all right? Jameis Winston is an elite QB. And I'm going to put that on Twitter. Jameis Winston is an elite QB, all right? Right there. Jameis Winston is elite QB. Okay? For the reason he's thrown for more yards, he's set rookie records. I mean, look, anybody who knows football knows that. But Justin, this is also why I say that Jameis Winston is being misdiagnosed and misused because of people like you. You don't know enough football. I'm just being blunt with you. You don't know enough football to properly evaluate any quarterback. You just regurgitate what you see on ESPN. Okay? All right? No, Justin, I'm getting after you. You're saying I have to know what you're thinking. It's not about who I think is elite. I'm telling you what makes an elite quarterback. What makes an elite quarterback is, first of all, the simple ability to line up a huddle, call a play, get your players set up properly, and get the ball off multiple times without false starts, without looking foolish, without lining up, under guard instead of center, which a lot of quarterbacks do, and then making the right play calling changes, as Jameis has had. Jameis has come into what now? 3 different systems in 4 years, okay? In 4 years, all right? And he's learned those systems literally on the fly. And with the Browns, went into an offense that was just only about, throwing, okay? Throwing, all right? Throwing, okay? If you take a look at the practice tapes, Justin, they didn't even bother to have Jameis do the type of footwork only Sean Payton did that assures a completed pass. This is about the science of the passing game, which you don't have any interest in at all. See, you're not interested in, Justin, I'm talking to you. You're not interested in, okay? Now, wait, Justin, tell me how to coach an elite passing game, Justin. I'm asking you. I want you to tell me, because I don't think you know. You don't understand the science of passing. Okay, I'll wait. Tell me. I'm writing this. I'm saying, hey, Justin, tell me about the science of the passing game. Yeah. Okay. Tell me about the science of the passing game. About how to assure a complete pass, about how to shorten your throwing motion, which Jameis Winston has done, throw a very quick pass. All right? And tell me what, in your mind, elite quarterback has in common with each other. I'll tell you what they are. For one thing, elite quarterbacks are not asked to be gunslingers. Okay? Jameis Winston is a gunslinger. He can do that, but he's also proven he can run a ball control passing offense. He was national champion in college, doing the same thing. He was known for a 70% completion percentage. So you tell me about the science of the passing game. I'm waiting, Justin. You don't understand the techniques of football to know when you're looking at it. Tell me, why is it that I was able to make a video right here in 2020, and I predicted that Jameis Winston would be reborn in Sean Payton's ball control passing offense? Why? Because I understand the science of passing. What's the science? It's getting the ball from A to B quickly. And then it's the machinery around it, okay? Justin, you don't know anything, okay? So I can do the ha 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 too. So I'm laughing. Justin, ha 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 ha. I'm writing LOL, okay? I'm laughing at you because you don't know anything. You don't know. Tell me about the science of the passing game. You didn't tell me. What famous coach is known for being the father of the modern pro set passing game? Why? Who is that, okay? All right? Okay. Okay, so, hey, Justin says he finally said something intelligent. Footwork, not making bonehead turnovers. No. You got the equation wrong, pal. Doing a coach that teaches the right footwork in their play, footworks are built into their plays. Okay? If you have a quarterback the quarterback doesn't teach himself the footwork. The coach that designs the play has to do that, Justin. I'm teaching you how this works. You're clueless about this stuff. Clueless. The footwork comes first. If the footwork is there, and the turnovers are not. You say reading defenses. You don't have, excuse me. Hey, Justin, one of us interviewed Bill Walsh. It wasn't you. So don't tell me about Bill Walsh. You know nothing of Bill Walsh. I interviewed Bill Walsh. You didn't. I know Ronnie Lott. I know Joe Montana. I know Keith Von Horst. I know Jerry Weiss very well. He's in my videos here. I can go on and on and on. You, by contrast, know nothing. So don't lecture me about the passing game. You know nothing. Okay? Nothing. All right? That's right. We say, yeah, you say you're right. No, sir. Yeah, right. You know, right. No, sir. Right. You know nothing. You're right. Okay? So Chai says, yeah, I understand the Monday Night Football game against Denver was frustrating as a Jameis Winston fan, but you see the potential there. Yeah. Let's see what Dable does with Jameis Winston. That's why I put out a press release, Sir Chai, calling for Ken Dorsey to be fired because he wasn't working on the footwork. You can see the practice, during the season. You can see the practice. You see the practice ones. Okay. Hey, Justin, what you say is just stupid, so I'm not even going to address it. I'm just being honest. I'm going to keep going. Because it's inane. All right. At any rate, it just is. Okay. All right. An elite quarterback is one who takes coaching and does very well consistently year after year after year after year after year. And Jameis Winston has done that. Okay. And yeah, Justin, I am very upset because I'm not going to relax, Justin. If you stop saying ridiculous things, I'll relax. You start showing some appreciation for the science of passing, for how to coach a Texas route, and ask yourself this question: how come neither the Cleveland Browns nor the Saints with Pete Carmichael ran Texas routes? All right. No, Jameis Winston is an elite quarterback. It's not a joke. He has better stats than a number, like, for example, he has better stats than Sam Darnold. He has better stats than the Rams quarterback. He's got the highest passer rating out of the pocket of any quarterback in the NFL. Okay? So, no. Justin, you just have no freaking idea what you're talking about. You're just mouthing what you heard on ESPN. That's all you do. Okay? Mouthing what you heard on ESPN. You don't know anything about the passing game. Nothing. So anyway, Sir Chai, Zinni, I'm going to give him, because he's actually one of my donors. Zinni, I believe the Jets are going to be a surprise. Hey, why about the Jets? I'm curious, okay? All right? Actually, Justin Parker, he does have better stats than Matt Stafford. No, you know nothing. But you don't know how to read stats. See? Like, out of pocket completion on the run. Yes, he does. He is the leader at it. Throws out of the pocket downfield. He is the leader. He has a better percentage than any quarterback in the NFL, even Josh Allen. Okay? Look it up. Look it up. It's right there. Okay? It's right there. The passes that's why Jameis Winston made Jerry Jeudy look so good with the Browns. Two of his passes, long gains, were actually based from runs out of the pocket. One for 73 yards against the Saints, okay, last year. So no, Jameis is virtuoso at that. Jameis Winston is the best untapped potential ball control passing quarterback there is. Thank you very much for the two bomb. I think the Jets might have a better coach. I think they do. I think they do. Now, Brian Daboll is actually using a pass play, or used it, that I invented, called the read option ball control pass. That I came up with it for John Gruden, and I introduced it to him at the 2018 NFL annual meeting down in Florida. So That was a lot of fun. And by the way, okay, and so uh, so at any rate, ball control passing with Jameis Winston, Brian Daboll is among the best at it, and he actually used the ball control passing off game that I created. In fact, I'll show it to you all real quick. Um, right here, say read option. It's called the read option jet sweep. I love doing this to people who have no idea what they're talking about, who are delusional. Read option jet sweep. Let's see here. Pass. Pass. Right there. Okay. There we go. 14. This is it. Hold on a second, folks. I've got to. I'll be right back. Hey, Sir Chai. I'll be right back. He says, "Oh, I don't know about that. Let me get there and let me do this. I've got to address one thing." Unmute. All right, so let me finish here. Okay. I was going to show the read option right here. So stop screen there. Then I'll share screen here. That would be there. There it is. This is it, folks. This is the read option jet sweep pass that I created. I'm going to turn off the echo cancellation so you can hear what's going on here, all right? Let me go to adjust it where I can, settings, audio, cancellation, there we are. And make sure that okay, and then 2 steps. And meanwhile, the fullback has started in motion over here. The ball should be snapped just before the fullback gets to the center. The ball is snapped. The fullback goes out quickly to the flat. So the idea is, as the flanker is moving to run this flat pattern, this is the jet swing, where the play here is clearing out the cornerback. Meanwhile, cornerback we have here. We expect that this safety may double team or definitely watch this side. But if the safety doesn't, okay, pre-snap, the safety's over here, and we have our split in out wide, we want number 1. We want this thrown on time. Take 2 steps, 1, 2, throw it on time into the area. All right? If we're not getting that look, the cornerback's back too far, safety's far too over much here, then we look at number 2, the flanker, because some teams get a little lazy about covering the flanker in this situation. So if he's wide open, immediately throw here. But if the cornerback is running to him, don't, because that could be a pick, okay, by the time it gets there. Instead, you have the fullback coming over, number 3. Nice little drain for you to throw to as the quarterback, and that's the primary approach. We have variation of the play where we actually hand off to the halfback. Why? Think about what I just said. Possibility here that if the fullback happens to go in motion, he may very well be followed by the safety or the linebacker. In either case, there's a fair probability that this area is vacated. You want to keep the defense honest by running the handoff version of this play. That's not baked in here. Originally it was, but as I was telling John, I didn't want to give the quarterback too much to think about. I didn't want to cause a mistake to be made by a fumble, by a botched handoff, the halfback trying to take a ball that wasn't meant for him, and all that sort of thing, okay? And then note, lastly, we have alert. Note the pattern. This is a classic Bill Walsh shake pattern. This is not a shake pattern, I'm sorry. Shake is another one. But the concept here is the same, created by Coach Walsh. Tight end goes out, fakes the outside pattern, the out pattern, then comes right back inside and positions himself for a nice ball down the middle along the hash. It's a classic pattern. So this is the play. This is the jet sweep pass play that I created, that I originally gave to John Gruden. And then when I came to the NFL annual meeting, I had left the original set of plays at the hotel and had to draw it up on the spot. So here we go. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark OaklandNewsNowBlog.com. And keep this in mind the next time you see this play ran, because then you can say, hey, look, I know how it should be ran. What the Dolphins did was they bunched everyone up inside, and they had the classic no-no. 2 receivers close to each other. You don't see that here. Look at the spacing. Look at the spacing, okay? Look at the spacing here, all right? Space matters, folks. Keep that in mind. You space out your receivers, you don't get interceptions. Okay, so that's what I did. Now also, I want to talk about a book, a really good book that you should get about Jameis Winston. It's called Jameis Winston Derangement Syndrome. And in fact, I'm going to put out a new tweet and talk about it, okay? Right here. Yeah. Jameis Winston Derangement Syndrome. This is by a guy named, well, it's not his real name, author 101. But you got to get Jameis Winston Derangement Syndrome. And you would say, what is that about? I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly what it's about. Jameis Winston Derangement Syndrome is a book, and it's right here. Put it right here. Stop the screen, and share screen, grab screen. There it is. This is about the book right here. Jameis Winston Derangement Syndrome. Right there, folks, okay? How media bias causes us to overlook the stats of a Hall of Fame NFL career. Jameis Winston Syndrome. And that's exactly what we're talking about with Jameis Winston. That's exactly what the problem is that I'm pointing to. This is from author 101. Let me go back and the settings, adjust the audio, echo cancellation. This is the book, folks. And I'll enlarge it so you can get a better picture. This is Jameis Winston Derangement Syndrome is what the book is called. We'll zoom in. Zoom in. And zoom in. This is what Justin reflects. Jameis Winston Derangement Syndrome. All right. Let me get the how media bias causes us to overlook the stats of a Hall of Fame NFL career. Right here. Okay? Like that. All right? Okay? That's what it's called. All right? Now, $18.95. It says Jameis 1 has written a game-changing book that the mainstream sports media may hate, but NFL fans will love. That's what it says Hawkes Green. And he also compares the statistics of every modern era Hall of Fame quarterback to Jameis Winston, as well as to others, all while adjusting for era to eliminate even the appearance of bias. Jameis Winston derangement syndrome is an NFL stat geek's dream, a biased media member's nightmare, and belongs in every Buccaneers fan library. This is by Ashley Abrams, host Talk the Plank podcast. It says Jameis Winston is one of the most controversial quarterbacks to ever play in the National Football League. That's what this reads, okay? I'm reading this, all right? The media spreads false narratives about him on a daily basis that lead even the most casual football fans to contract the disease known as Winston derangement syndrome. That's what Justin has. Nevertheless, Winston is, first, the youngest Pro Bowl quarterback in NFL history. The only quarterback to start his career with back-to-back 4,000 passing seasons. Number 2 in NFL history in both career passing yards and passing touchdowns by age 25. The only other quarterback other than Drew Brees to finish top 5 in QBR on a losing team since 2015. He's top 3 in the entire NFL in many advanced metrics year in and year out, and is undeniably on a Hall of Fame statistical pace even when adjusting for era. Yet biased mainstream sports media members have called him a bust right here, okay? Said he should be cut, downplayed his achievements, and even lied about his stats. In this book, you will learn how and why the media spreads Jameis Winston derangement syndrome and will receive the cure for such a diabolical and contagious disease. This guy's got 900 citations. Personal accounts of Jameis Winston from grade school to the present. Original adjusted for era date on every Super Bowl era Hall of Fame quarterback. Piercing yet humorous exposés of various mainstream media members. Tons of info the biased mainstream sports media refuses to report on. Okay? And it's got statistical research on every Super Bowl era quarterback from Tom Brady to Bob Greasy. All right, he's got it all. I even interviewed him, okay? It's a great book. This lays out the craziness, the crazy stuff, okay, that people have, the crazy ideas that people have about Jameis Winston. And among them, I say to you that Jameis Winston has been asked to guide badly designed offenses. I can name you the offensive coordinators. He started with Dirk Koetter, and then he had Dirk Koetter gave way. Dirk Koetter was first offensive coordinator, and then as head coach, Koetter brought in Todd, the fellow who's the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens right now, and and you're talking about Todd Monken, and Todd had some terribly designed plays for him. For example, Todd Monken had one particular design play set where he had Jameis Winston rolling out, right? But instead of the lineman putting a hat on a hat, he had the lineman pre-blocking this way, so all you had to do was go around this way. In other words, they were blocking at a position rather than blocking the person in front of them. Not surprisingly, Jameis got sacked. Stuff like that. You know, you look at these contests and what they've done with them, and if you know what to look for in football and what works, it just boggles the mind. You keep thinking someone's got some money out there that they're being paid either to, either that, or they just really just don't know, you know. And I think some people are just phys ed teachers. But the reason why I think Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson as a pair will get the Giants to the promised land is because they get along, because they're teammates. They're both Christian. They have complementary skill sets. Russell is a runner. Jameis is a passer. And I can see where Brian Daboll may want to spell one for the other, change the tempo a bit. That'd be hard to deal with. Because, you could do that for different plays, different situations, under different teams, for different reasons, based on the game plan. Only they would know, right? But I think that the fact that you have two good men who want to be successful. Jameis wants to be successful on the level of Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson wants to capture the brass ring again. He's 36. Jameis is 31. He doesn't want to be a career backup. So don't listen to these other folks. Don't be the person that pays attention to these Jameis Winston syndrome types. Forget it. Do better. All right. Been out here for 58 minutes. Live long and prosper, everybody. Sir Chai, thank you for the 2 bombs. And that ends the stream. I'll see you.